Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
So this is kind of, I guess, kind of tagging off of what James was asking. So I feel like I'm still kind of in the building process of building my audience on YouTube. Like right now, I'm just around like 280. I think I just got like 70 of those like this month. So I'm still like kind of growing, and I feel like my channel's kind of new. But when would you say is a good time to actually like put out, like start like announcing kind of like merch drops and kind of testing out that kind of idea?
Ooh, when do you start announcing merch drops? That's a good question.
Ooh, that's good.
When do you start doing that? I think if you were a rapper, I would refer you to Andrew Southworth and Adam Ivy's video on when should you start paying for advertising. And I would literally use that same criteria. There's like 7 things that Adam Ivy, who was actually oddly enough I was just chatting with in my DMs earlier today. So there's like 7 things he lays out what you need to have in order in terms of your brand and your messaging and your sound, all those different things before you launch into spending money on growing in ads and Spotify ads and all that kind of stuff. And it was really informative. So I would revisit that video. I think that video is extremely helpful. And I would kind of follow that format more or less. I think the deeper question is, when do you have the capacity, the creativity, and the expertise to launch a quality product? Quality is subjective to a certain degree, right? Like my man Profit Links like scoffs at anybody that prints anything on Gildan. He's kind of a purist in that way in terms of merchandising, right? And I don't think there's anything wrong with printing on Gildan. I personally don't.
Hey. There's levels to Gildan. Disclaimer: there's levels to Gildan. I know that. Don't cheat. Don't print on the $1.70, the $1.25 ones. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and so that's his thing. There's tons of mega brands that print on $2 Gildan t-shirts. You know what I mean? And so there's a degree of like best practices and all that kind of stuff. So I think when you have the capacity to figure out these things is when you should. I would err on, can you make something good? And do you have the capacity to do it? And then err on the side of doing it too soon and too late. Because you want to train your audience to start paying you in some way, shape, or form. If you wait too long, you're just always going to be the free guy. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay initially, but there's going to be this phase you hit in between where you need to start making money to grow. You got to figure out a way to have something to sustain you, so that there's that leap that you got to take at some point, right? If you're trying to go from I work a job and I do YouTube on the side and I do music on the side, to like, yo, I'm going for it, I'm gonna go. You kind of need that revenue in that middle tier to get to that, like, yo, you're at 100,000 or 50,000, right? That middle tier is an awkward place. So I say the sooner the better. I'd say the sooner the better, with the caveat that you are studying it, you're understanding what designs work, what fonts work. All this stuff is seasonal. And there's amazing YouTubers. I've recommended this dude before. There's 3 main YouTubers that I really do follow on the topic of merchandising. And one of them is Ninja. I think it's Ninja Designs.
I think I actually did follow him because you mentioned him a couple weeks ago, I think. So I went and I found his page and followed him.
Yeah, Hustle Ninja. Ninja. Anybody having any desire to create a physical product should definitely be following Hustle Ninja. There's 2 other ones, I don't know their name off the top, but both super dope. And I would be following them and understanding them. Now you also got to understand there's 2 different ways of getting into fashion. There's the like, I want to flip t-shirts and make money so I could feed myself model. Different than the I want to be the next Jerry Lorenzo Virgil model. Completely different models of how you get your foot in the door. Usually the Jerry Lorenzos and those guys will start out and have some kind of physical product or t-shirt as well, but they're not trying to nickel and dime and hustle their way up, right? Whereas like as a creator who does merch, you're trying to make money. Like that's the goal. That's the objective, right? As ethically as possible. So I would defer and say the sooner the better. The sooner the better. with the caveat that you spend time. So like Hustle Ninja has a whole video about like the top fonts this year, and he'll tell you, walk you through, these are the fonts, and then you see those fonts and you're like, holy crap, these fonts are everywhere. Every other t-shirt I see is using the same 2 fonts, right? And it's like, and then you start, oh, this is no different than production. Everybody's using the same splice samples, everybody's using this, right? Like same plugins. Yep. It's the same thing. The tough part is that a lot of us we get intimidated by a new medium, a new expression, and so we don't ever do it. You can't be intimidated by it. Design's not that complicated. It is. There's a difference between I got a buddy of mine, a good friend of mine, he'll be on the channel soon. He is trying to be the next Jerry Lorenzo, right? So when Kanye's on Sway and he's telling him, you don't understand what it takes to get to that next level. You don't understand that I have to go through these factories, that I need a partner. No one's giving me a shot. And Sway's like, just make your own t-shirt. And he's like, how? Like, you remember that conversation that they had, right?
Oh, yeah.
Why? Why? Because Sway was what? Making t-shirts. Probably making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year flipping t-shirts. Great money. I'm assuming $50,000 a year will change your life. $100,000 a year will change my life, right? Great money. Kanye was trying to build Yeezy. Kanye was trying to build a $5 billion brand. Completely different things. You need an Adidas at an 11% royalty rate to build Yeezy. You don't need an Adidas for Jordan to flip some t-shirts on YouTube and make an extra $50,000 a year so he could quit his job, right? You don't need Adidas for that. You could do that at the crib. Like you really can do that at the crib. You see what I'm saying? And so I think you gotta you just gotta ease into it, and the moment you start having some fire designs, dope. You know what I'm saying? You start having those ideas and start playing around with making some mocks in Photoshop or whatever program you use. Figure that out, and then take the next step. Buy yourself a little vinyl printer. Buy yourself a heat press. Start wearing the shirts. Wait and see if there's a demand or people asking for it, right? And then do some type of launch for your stuff, you know, and lean into that process. So I err on too soon than too late, because too late, you're going to have a super entitled audience. And this is, in my opinion, maybe I'm wrong, and feel free, anybody to chime in. Those of you guys that are like true historians. I think, in my opinion, why so many SoundCloud rappers struggled is because they built entitled audiences that were just used to free music. A lot of SoundCloud, you know, that movement was big, and those folks had a ton of freaking eyeballs. But the guys that went to iTunes first, guys like Russ, ended up being very successful. The guys that waited too long ended up signing really crappy deals. And there's a ton of those SoundCloud rappers right now, amazing artists that are all stuck on major labels that are shelved because they didn't actually develop that consumer relationship. So I would say get to I'm monetizing. You have to pay for this, right? Get to that sooner than later. You start training your consumer how to engage with you, and that's what you ultimately want. You want them used to coming to your website and used to spending money with you. If you don't, they're just gonna grow entitled, and that's not great.
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.